Together we are but first coffee. Susie's just our host, but what matters most is we are a team. Together we are all safe here, and so are you. Among friends and mods we are safe. We talk about trauma, break down drama of life, death, happy or sad, even mad. We discuss it all here. Together we will thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Together we fight cults or fight addictions. If not with experience, with love, and we don't judge. Please understand, this is a safe place to land. Please understand, you're not alone. This is a safe place to land. Together we thrive, not just survive. We will dry each other's tears, celebrate big or small wins, and chase away the fears. Because we are but first coffee, and Susie welcomes us all here. Together we are but first coffee, and Susie.
Hey, everybody. Look who I drug onto the screen again.
Hi, guys.
It's
I'm
John.
back.
He's back. He's been so busy, he hadn't been able to come on for a while, but I kind of drug him on here tonight. So,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Mhm.
I'm glad to see everybody coming in. I get so busy staring at the chat to see who all's here, I forget to talk sometimes. So, I'm going to say hi to everybody really quick, and we're going to get started. So, Indigo is
Alright.
here. Always good to see you. Heat my shorts. Just Tiff. Healing through song. That would be
Mhm.
John. He is here. Absolutely. Janet from Another Planet is here.
Hi, Janet.
Lord Kiss Freak. Yay. He
Chris is
must
out.
have a few days off. You know how
Yeah, I was
his
gonna say
time
he's
goes.
out of the mine and able to join us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. So I know we've got more than that or that are lurking. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of get started.
Mhm.
I'm really excited about this one tonight. We're going to
Yeah,
talk
me
about
too.
two disorders that are completely different, but yet they get kind of thrown into one big mess or confused with each other. And it just, not a good thing. So, what we're going to talk about is OCD, which is obsessive compulsive disorder, and
Mhm.
OCPD, which is obsessive compulsive personality disorder. And I didn't even know there was a difference until I started looking this stuff up. I
Me?
I mean, did you? Did you know there was a
No,
difference?
I did not,
I
no.
didn't either. I really didn't. I thought that it was probably, like how they'll talk about like autism, but it's on a spectrum. And so, I thought, well, this is probably the same kind of a deal. And it's just this is part of it and this is I was wrong.
Mhm.
They are different. And I'll tell you, what sparked my interest was ugh, one of those Facebook tests that you can take. It was like, "Are you OCD?" And no, I didn't take it. But that got
Mhm.
me thinking, and so I did do a little bit of Googling, and I did do a little bit of ChatGPT, and I thought, "You know what? If I'm this amazed by all this information, other people might be too." And so,
Yeah.
I started looking into it. But, okay, so I do wanna say this before we get started. Both OCD and OCPD, I wrote this down so I wouldn't get it wrong,
Mhm.
are real diagnoses that are recognized in the DSM-5, and I didn't know what that was, so I looked it up, and it is Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Health Disorders, and it's the 5th edition.
Mhm.
And so they're both in there, but they said that they sit in very different categories. They're not even in the same category. So the more I read, I was just really blown away. And so I thought, well, I wonder if anybody else is wondering about this or knows stuff about this stuff.
Mhm.
And anyway, so kind of a simple, very oversimplified breakdown of it actually is that OCD is an actual anxiety disorder, and it is obsessive compulsive, and it is a spectrum disorder. So it is kind of like autism, that it is on a spectrum.
Mhm.
And then OCPD is a personality disorder. And so tonight we're not going to diagnose or label, at least not out loud. But yeah, we're just going to kind of talk about these and kind of like, I don't know, learn something, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. So I do have some slides just because it kind of gives us a jumping off point, and I thought that that might be a good way. But I do want you all to please, if you have information or questions or whatever, speak up. We'll be trying to keep an eye on the chat too, to because this is we like interaction here. We like everybody to get involved.
Yeah, and one of the reasons why I thought this was an important topic to talk about tonight is because if you think about it, I I know so many people who have it.
Mhm.
I'm touched with it a little bit myself, and I think it's just one of those things that no matter who you are, no matter where you live, you either know somebody who has it, who struggles with it,
Mhm.
or you're touched by it yourself. So this is one of those that, I love to see the engagement in the chat. I
I do
love to see
too.
people share their stories, and I know you do too. So this is yeah, I'm hoping this is gonna be a good one.
I do too. I really do.
Mhm.
And what I was talking about where I was saying that people kinda get them mixed up is like just what it says here, that when someone says, "I'm so OCD about my planner," they are almost never describing OCD. What they're usually describing is rigidity, perfectionism, control,
Mhm.
or discomfort, with disorder,
Yep.
which lines up more closely with OCPD.
Mhm.
So, when we joke about OCD, we're often joking about, you know, let me move this so I can read the bottom of this, something
Mhm.
else, you know, that,
Mhm.
and it says here it erases the people who are quietly suffering. And so that's what I really wanted to talk about because, I'm gonna move this off real quick. I personally know a lot of people, and I have literally done it myself, who will be like, "I am so OCD about, this or that."
Mhm.
But I think that it's not true. I think that I would probably sit more on the OCPD because I am very rigid about things and how I do things and all of that, but I'm not stuck in cycles of doing things. And people that have OCD, not always, but far more often. I don't like how that's looking. Far more often, unless you moved it. Did you move it and I just moved it back?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. But, it far more often involves cycles and, like they have to tap 7 times or they have to, go in, close a door 3 times or they have to
Yep.
open and close a drawer so many times or whatever.
Mhm.
And these cycles that they get in can literally take up hours and hours of their day, making it almost impossible for them to have jobs or to interact in society, and it breaks my heart and kinda makes me feel kinda bad that I have not intentionally, but, unintentionally kind of marginalized that and been like, "I'm so OCD about," whatever.
Mhm.
And so it's kinda funny because my daughter the other day, after I was doing some of this studying, she said something about, "My OCD keeps me from, blah, blah, blah," and I'm like, "You don't have OCD."
Right.
Like, I'm not diagnosing her, y'all, I undiagnosed her. Let's put it
Mhm.
that way.
Well, and that's an important point too, Suze, is that I think there are a lot of people out there
Mhm.
who think they have it and don't.
Yeah,
and a lot of people who think they don't have it and do. So that's
do.
why talking about this kind of stuff is so important.
And they're both equally, hard to function with,
Mhm. They
it
can be
in their own
debilitating, they
very
really can.
yes, it really can.
Mhm,
Now, I was reading on it and it said and I thought that this was weird, just odd, you know, that they said that OCD is more recognized as a disability than
mhm.
OCPD is, because they think that
Hmm,
OCPD that you can just kinda I don't mean to oversimplify it, but this is what they said, okay? They said it's like
mhm.
you can just get over yourself, that kind of thinking, and I thought, "That's kind of harsh." I mean,
Yeah,
if it is to the point that you can't finish things because of, you know, whatever. Like me, for instance, what I think, and I know you have your own deals too, and I would love to hear those. I'd love to hear
mhm,
everybody's. But anyway, the thing that I do is that if I get overwhelmed by something, then I just can't do it. Like
mm,
if I like if my house gets too out of order, then I will just sit there and just let it get more out of order because
mm,
I can't do this, this, and this. And,
mhm.
and another thing is like things have to be where I want them to be. And I will drive Mark completely crazy about that. Like if something is sitting a little bit crooked, I'll fix it and he will go back and move it again. And but those fall into more of an OCPD than an OCD because I'm not over there having to, thank God, having to go through all these cycles. I think that would be
Right.
so hard. Oh,
Mhm.
my heart just
Yeah, that's the debilitating part, yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
absolutely. So,
That's me.
yeah, I'm very interested in hearing what you have to I wanna look this up too because I think this will really help us kind of man, my nose. It is something in this house, in this living room, I think, although it was doing it when I was in the office too, so I don't know. Let me
Mhm,
move this again. But anyway, a side by side comparison of it I thought might really be helpful because, like, OCD is driven by fear and anxiety, and OCPD is driven by
mhm,
control and correctness. And so
mm.
that's a lot of it with me is that I have to have control of things. And if my house gets out of control, then I'm, you know,
You just get
debilitated.
overwhelmed. Yeah.
Yeah, I just can't do anything. I
Mhm,
can't do anything. And I have to really rein it back in and focus on one little thing that I can control and then another little thing and another little thing. But I can't imagine the other because this is already bad enough. And I know that
mhm,
there's people that are way more troubled with it. But so anyway, so OCD involves intrusive and unwanted thoughts, and OCPD involves rigid beliefs and rules. OCD is thoughts feel disturbing or wrong, and OCPD is thoughts feel right and justified. So a person can say, "Why am I like this?" But on the other hand, the person usually says, "Why don't others get it right?" Which
mhm,
is this
mhm.
is me.
Me too.
So, yeah. It causes distress to the person. If OCD causes distress to the person, and OCPD often causes distress to people around them. Again, I am
Mhm.
all my daughters remind me of the "I'm not cranky, Mark," kind of comments because, I mean, it was just because I didn't have control of a situation, and it's not even I mean, it wasn't just a situation, it was like I didn't have control of anything that was going on, like, I
Right.
was completely overwhelmed.
Mhm,
So, anyway, OCD is ego dystonic, is that how you say that? And
mhm.
doesn't match the self-image, and OCPD is ego systonic and feels
Okay.
aligned with self.
Mhm.
And then OCD seeks reassurance, checking things, mental rituals over and over and over and over. And OCPD is micromanaging, rigidity, perfection. And here's the big one, okay? and it says here, let this last one sink in, okay? Is that OCD wants relief from symptoms and OCPD wants the world to comply. That's me.
Hmm.
I want
Yeah.
everybody to figure out that I know how to do this,
Right.
you know, whatever it is,
Mm.
and just let me, you know? And I mean, it's I know it sounds so ridiculous to say it, but it kinda helps that I saw on there that, like, this is something that other people do too, because now I'm not I've not been, diagnosed. I'm self-diagnosing myself, y'all.
Mhm.
But, anyway, I can't remember what this one is. Let me look at it real fast. Yeah. Let's go ahead and run through these and then just really talk.
Alright.
Okay,
So
so
why
why it
does
matters when we confuse OCD and OCPD, sorry, I can't talk tonight. People with OCD feel unseen and dismissed, and people with OCPD stay misunderstood. Relationships suffer, mental health language turns into a punchline, the whole my OCD or I'm so OCD.
Mhm.
And clarity isn't about labels, it's about compassion. And I that hit me really hard. Just,
Mhm.
that we just really don't understand what people are going through and we just oversimplify a lot.
Yeah.
So,
Well, before you jump into that part, I
okay,
just saw a comment that I wanted to address.
okay, absolutely.
Someone said, "This is nonsense. I had symptoms from both sides."
You
Well,
can.
it is possible to exhibit signs of both.
Mhm.
So, I wouldn't necessarily call it nonsense. I'd just say
Mhm.
you're riding the fence on the spectrum in that
Yeah.
case. So you're
Yeah.
you're dipping from both pools, I guess.
Absolutely.
So I wouldn't
Absolutely.
necessarily write it off. I would just say that it is
Yeah.
possible to have signs of both. Okay. Sorry
So,
to
yeah.
interrupt.
No, 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 you're fine. You're fine.
Okay.
And on this one, it was saying that different, the different problems have different approaches to taking care of it. And OCD it focuses on exposure and response prevention, which is where they make you do the same, they make you go through these without doing those cycles that you are so that are so compulsive. And
Mhm.
so, can you imagine that? Honestly, just thinking about somebody going through that though was heartbreaking to me because I thought that has to really mess with them because this is not something they're doing because it's fun. They're doing it and it's torturing them.
It's torture, yeah.
Yeah. And so then to be made to not, and they said that it's a slow process. They don't just, dive in. It's small steps. But yeah, but just I mean, I keep thinking about, it's not the same, but that's how they do a lot of things when you have phobias too, is that they want you to, get used to whatever it is that you're afraid of so you won't be afraid of.
Mhm.
But if I am terrified of snakes and if somebody just was like constantly making me deal with snakes, I would be a basket case. I would just be so freaked out. And so whenever I read that that's how they treat that a lot, it just, ugh, just
Mhm.
I felt I just feel.
Mhm.
So, yeah, they another thing is learning to tolerate uncertainty, reducing compulsions, and medication, often SSRIs. And the OCPD treatment focuses on long-term psychotherapy, increasing flexibility, emotional awareness, relationship repair, and letting go of rigid rules.
Mm.
So, yeah, ERP helps OCD, insight and flexibility help OCPD. So mixing them up leads to frustration on all sides.
Mhm.
So, yeah, but they also can be you can have both. It's like I mean, and
Yeah.
you'll even see that with some people, how it reminds me of like how doctors, they'll have all the little things that all the little things that they've got fellowships and everything in and all this. I think it's a lot of that with mental health issues, you can be like
Mhm.
OCD, OCPD, you can be, and the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
And so it's not an either or. And I
Right.
think that it would be also very hard if it's, like, things that kind of, like, bump up against each other or compete against each other.
Yeah,
It would
and,
just be a
you know,
mess.
one of the common things that we talk about, on some of the mental health channels is
Mhm.
that there's a lot of crossover.
Mhm.
There are a lot of people out there, and I'm a perfect example. I suffer from OCD. Um, I have traits of OCPD. I probably lean more in that direction, and I have ADHD. So, those things butt heads sometimes. Sometimes they
Mhm.
complement each other. It just depends on the situation, and that
Yeah.
makes treatment challenging sometimes too, because you can't just treat one without treating the other. So
Mhm.
there can be several underlying, things going
Absolutely.
on, and that's why, you usually focus a lot on the disorder where I'm more focused on the treatment,
Mhm.
and because I'm fascinated by, the different kinds of treatment options, specifically the ones that are non, pharmaceutical, because I
Yes.
I noticed that we tend to treat everything
Every
pharmaceutically these
Yeah.
days, and I don't always think that, conditions of the mind respond
Mhm.
in the best way to those types of
Yeah.
treatment. So
I
I'm not
agree. I'm
sure.
not against medication, but I have become much more interested in more natural ways of healing things that we can, or where we, like, with meditation and stuff, where we can kind of control things ourselves without having to just take medication. But at the same time,
Mhm,
if that doesn't fix it, then I'm not in any way against medication.
mhm. I
Anyway.
wanted to mention something real quick in passing. I see this question, is John an expert? Um, I am only an expert on my own disorders, and I'm still learning them because, I wasn't diagnosed until I was in my 50s.
Yeah.
So, Wendy, this is, more of just a conversation. I mean, neither Susie or I are
Yeah.
professionals in any sense of the word, but we both struggle with,
Yeah.
parts of this, and we think it's important to have a discussion about it to see how some of you guys who also, struggle with it, deal with it, and any kind of treatments that you've had that worked for you or anything like that. This is more just a discussion.
Well, we kind of feel like that as just, like, normal people that they see daily here, there, and everywhere, on YouTube and stuff, that if we are just talking about it, then it kind of takes away the stigma, and we can just talk about it more freely, and
Yeah.
then that might make it where somebody's like, "I can go get help for this. This is not
Right.
a big scary thing. This is something that my friends have trouble with." And so, if I mean, we always laugh and say we're therapists because
Hmm.
James Collins says that, but we say we're therapists, not therapists. But it's not even
Hmm.
that. It really is just getting information out there and making it where it's not scary.
Right.
And
Destigmatizing things. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's what we kind of do here.
That's what we're about.
That's what we're about. That's right. So, anyway, if we've got anybody, I see we do have some starred. Should we go answer some of those, or do you wanna talk about what you were gonna do it from the male perspective a lot
Well,
too?
yeah, I was just when you told me we were gonna do this, I started looking at it, and you know me. I mean, this is kind of I think you can attack everything from a male female perspective because not everybody
Absolutely.
suffers the same. And so I'm always interested in the male perspective of it. And, through the course of looking through some of it, I mean, I do find a lot of commonality, but some of the things that I found, and I think it's important to discuss the difference between compulsion and obsession in that, and,
Mhm.
and we were touching on that a little bit earlier
Yeah.
about the difference between OCD and OCPD. So I found a list here from a psychiatry website that talked about common obsessions, which are unwanted thoughts or fears. So the fear of harm, intense worries about harming self, others, or loved ones, or causing disasters.
Mhm.
contamination, the fear of germs, dirt, illness, or bodily fluids. I was thinking of Howie Mandel when I saw that one
Mhm.
because he has an extreme case of OCD. I mean, he
Mhm.
wears gloves when he meets people because he doesn't like to touch them. And, that obviously that's an extreme version, but
Well, and he said,
again,
though, I saw him one night say that he wants to, but he just has this compulsion that he can't. Like, he physically,
yeah, his
just can't, and that he
right, his
wants
brain
to.
will not
He's
allow
not,
him
like,
to.
you know, he's not distant, he
Mhm.
wants to be with people and touch them and hug them and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just his mind just will not allow him to do it.
Yeah.
Um, Another common obsession is symmetry and order, which we talked about, the extreme need for things to be perfectly aligned, symmetrical, or in specific sequences.
Mhm.
Um, I think about examples like when you're putting books on the bookshelf, they have to start with the tallest ones and go down gradually to the smallest. Or,
Mhm.
figurines on a shelf have to be symmetrical or things like that.
Mhm.
Um, Another common obsession is moral or religious scrupulosity. That's a tongue twister for you. And that
Mhm.
is excessive guilt or fear of offending God or acting against one's morals.
Wow.
Another common obsession is intrusive sexual or violent thoughts, repulsive, unwanted thoughts that clash with personal values. And then the last one they talk about is perfectionism slash mistakes, the fear of making errors or not doing things exactly right. Then they talk about common compulsions, which are repetitive behaviors and mental acts. So those are the things we were
Mhm.
talking about earlier. So checking, repeatedly checking locks or appliances or for
Mhm.
mistakes. This is one. My ex-wife had this habit. I was talking about this earlier with someone else. Um, she could not leave an appliance plugged in to save her life. So
Really?
if I made toast, and as soon as the toast popped up, I'd take the toast and put it on a plate, and I would have to unplug the toaster because it would just drive her insane if it was plugged in. Um, let's see what else we have. Washing and cleaning, excessive
Mhm.
hand washing or cleaning rituals to prevent contamination. And that kind of, again, that's goes along with that obsession as well of germs and things like that.
Mhm.
Um, Ordering or arranging items like books or cans to face the same way or be symmetrical. Again, counting and repeating. Now, I've seen people do this a lot, and this was
I have
something you
fewer
were talking
clicks,
about earlier.
you
Yeah,
know?
repeating actions like going through a doorway or words slash prayers to neutralize thoughts. Um, Immediately when I thought of this one, and I don't know how many of you guys have seen The Big Bang Theory. Um, it is a
Mhm.
show, and these guys are all like super, super smart, but Sheldon in particular has a lot of these idiosyncrasies, if you want to call
Mhm.
them that. And one of the things that he does on almost every show is when he goes to his neighbor Penny's apartment, he knocks, he says her name, he says, Penny, Penny,
Mhm.
Penny, and he does it 3 times every single time, and
Mhm.
that is a compulsion, and that's
Absolutely.
part of the OCD spectrum.
Well, and the
Um,
thing is that it's not so simple as just that they have to complete these cycles,
mhm,
but it is it it's deeper than that because in their mind, the intrusive thoughts are telling them if they don't do these certain things that X, Y, and Z are gonna happen. That
mhm,
it's gonna harm somebody. It's gonna, like, they're gonna cause the end of the earth. I mean, and it
right,
doesn't have to make any sense, but that's what their mind is telling them. If you don't do it like this,
mhm,
and it's the same thing. I saw somebody had said that germophobia is not the same. Um, and no, it's not. But where Howie Mandel is different is that if he touches somebody, he's gonna have to do so many things
mhm,
in such an order that he can't function.
mhm,
It's not just a simple thing of, "Ooh, they touched me." It's that if he does have germophobia,
mhm,
but again, you can have more than one thing.
Right.
If he does, if somebody does touch him, then he has to, there's all these things he has to do. I don't know what they
Right.
are. He didn't talk about what they were, but
Right.
his day's gone, basically.
Mhm.
If
Yeah,
he
it'll
touches
ruin your whole
somebody and
day.
he has 6 hours of I've gotta complete these things, then his day's over, you
Yeah.
know? So
Another common compulsion is seeking reassurance,
mhm,
constantly asking others to confirm things are okay.
mhm,
And then the last one they talk about is mental rituals, mentally reviewing events, praying, or replacing bad thoughts with good ones.
mhm.
And then they talk about, real quickly, the key characteristics in men with OCD, hiding symptoms.
Of
And this
course.
is, unfortunately, this is a common recurring theme and things we talk about in the differences between men and women and the whole, hunter gatherer versus caring nurturer
Mhm,
situations. Men often hide OCD due to shame and delaying diagnosis. High functioning OCD symptoms may be less obvious, but they still cause significant distress and interfere with life.
mhm.
And themes often involves perfectionism, responsibility, and a need for control, impacting appearance, work, and relationships.
Yeah.
Now, this is one I don't necessarily think that this is um, exclusive to men,
Mhm.
because I think you and I both admitted in the beginning that we're guilty of it. Um, I have OCPD, and I know the way I know that is because I just don't understand why people can't do it the way I do it. Um, Whereas, in the OCD spectrum, it's more like you're beating yourself up. And I think you and I just look at people and go, it's so
I don't
easy. Why can't
understand.
you
Yeah,
just do it like
yeah.
this? Just listen to me, you
And it's
know?
not that I think that they're stupid, it's just like, this is how it's
No.
done, this it's not like
Right.
that
Exactly.
I'm the only person that knows how to fix it. It's like, "This is how it's
Right.
done. Why can't you see that?"
Right.
I see these
Right.
T-shirts that says, if it if it didn't work or if it doesn't work the first time, do it the way John do what John said or do what, so and so said, and I'm like,
Right.
"Hello, that's me." If it didn't work, then do it the way I said.
I'll tell you something. I'm not particularly proud of this, but I have been a manager or a supervisor most of my life. And at one point, I was managing a sales department, but it was inside sales. So we would talk to customers on the phone all day long. And my employees, I don't know why, it's people have their own personalities and they have their own ways of doing things. And for people like us who have OCPD, we don't understand that. There's
No.
one way to do things, and that's the way I want you to do it. And I was fortunate enough or unfortunate, depending on how you look at it, to have two women who worked for me who were both very capable and just had their own ways of doing things. And at one point for Christmas, I bought them both bracelets that said WWJD. And neither of them were particularly religious. So I thought I had a good opportunity. And they said, "What does WWJD mean?" And I said, "What would John do?" Instead of what would Jesus do. So so that was a big joke around the office for a long time. But it was, it's kind of the mantra of what my management
Yeah.
style was. And it frustrated me to have people who had their own ways of doing things because I thought that
Yeah.
there was one way and only one way. So
And a lot of it, it's not even so much that we think that, like, that only we know how to do it. It might be the way we were taught to do it. And so it
yeah,
just makes sense to us that,
right.
somebody else could have taught us to do it.
Right.
But, this is the way it's done. This is the
Yep.
way it works. Why not just do it this way and then, don't reinvent the wheel
Right.
kind of a thing. Yeah.
And the flip side of that coin, the bad part of it is that it kind of closes off our minds to the possibility that there may be a better way to do something,
Mhm.
because we close our minds off to that and we think, no, our way is the best way, or our way is the only way.
Yeah.
And that's one of the ways that it can get in the way of your daily life.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
mhm.
I wanna pull up these real quick, and it's just some I'm always interested, and I think that it helps people relate also if I can find celebrities or somebody that's well known that
Mhm.
suffers from these same things too, because I think that it shows us that it's okay. We didn't think they were weird. We're not weird kinda thing, you know? And so I'm always trying to find celebrities. And
Mhm.
so on this one, I have some of the celebrities with OCD, which is Howie Mandel,
Mhm.
Amanda Seyfried, David Beckham,
Mhm.
Lena Dunham, I can't talk,
So,
and
yeah.
Camila Cabello.
Mhm.
But then we also have Luke Combs. He's a country singer. I don't particularly know him, but I know who I've heard his
I've
voice
heard
or
of
heard
them,
him
yeah.
sing. Yeah. Justin Timberlake, Leonardo DiCaprio, Daniel Radcliffe, and Jessica Alba.
Hmm.
That's a lot of very well-known, very successful people with OCD. And so I kind of like it whenever we can find people with it because again, it just normalizes it. It takes the stigma out of it, I think.
Mhm.
And then I don't know if I my eyes, but it says uh a few mentions related to OCPD specifically is Don or John Richardson. It's a British
Mhm.
comedian. Um, I can't read that. Can you see that better?
Yeah, he's a British comedian that's explored whether his tendencies align more with OCPD than OCD,
Mhm.
talking about traits like perfectionism and rigidity.
Mhm.
And rumored figures like Steve Jobs or Estee Lauder are often
Mhm.
mentioned in profiles discussing OCPD style traits, but these are speculative and not confirmed self
Mhm.
reported diagnoses.
And I thought that this was sad because I was also reading about that it's almost like people think that it's okay to have OCD, but that they don't wanna come out and say they have OCPD because it sounds like that it's just like they're a hard ass kinda situation, you
Yeah.
know? And that's not the truth,
Well,
you
it's
know? There's a reason
right.
that they're
And
reacting
guy,
that way, you know?
yeah.
It's
And
just
guys, don't get us wrong. I mean, it's not easy for Susie and I to come on here and admit that we have this because,
yeah.
I know it sounds like we're making light of it, but we're not. I mean, we laugh at ourselves constantly on this
Mhm.
channel, if you spend any kind of time with us at all, and we're not taking it lightly. It's
No.
just that you gotta try to learn how to, laugh at yourself once in a while, especially about things like this. I mean, I
Mhm.
my whole life before I was diagnosed, I just thought that I was just a miserable prick, and,
Mhm.
everything had to be my way, and I was an alpha and, and all the
Mhm.
things. And then
But
when I
really
started
it's
seeing
not.
yeah, and when I started seeing a therapist and I started, actually finding out about these things and realizing that they weren't really my fault, that were just the way my brain was wired,
Mhm.
then it became easier to deal with it and to try to change those behaviors through
Mhm.
therapy, through medication, through things like that. So,
Yeah.
um, so one of the things I wanted to talk to the chat about and see what you guys think about it is that how does obsessive compulsive disorder manifest? So most people experience disturbing or nagging thoughts on occasion. But if
Yeah.
you suffer from obsessive compulsive disorder, the thoughts begin to haunt you.
Yeah.
Once you start thinking about something, you can't stop. For example, you may become fixated on simple questions like, did I remember to lock the door? Why is the car making that funny sound? When did I clean the bathroom last? With OCD, those thoughts can become obsessions that lead to
Yeah.
repetitive behaviors or compulsions that interfere with your daily life, which is what we're saying.
And a
You end
lot
up
of
with
that is like where you're talking about, like, it can be like, did I turn off the curling iron? Did I lock the door? Did I
yeah,
whatever. And a
Mhm.
lot of that is where it starts with those cycles because
Yeah.
you will drive yourself so crazy asking yourself those questions, "Did I do this? Did I do
Mhm.
this? Did I do this?" That you create these cycles of things that you do so that you know, "If I completed this, then it means that I did that."
Right.
And so it's
And what they're
really
and what
complex.
psychiatrists say is that with OCD, those thoughts can become obsessions that lead to
Mhm,
repetitive, obviously repetitive
mhm,
behaviors or compulsions that interfere with your daily life. And they say that at that point, you end up with 2 choices, neither of which are very helpful. You
mhm,
become frustrated because of the amount of time and energy you waste satisfying those compulsions, which we talked
mhm,
about, and you feel burdened with elevated anxiety if you don't satisfy those compulsions. So, to fight the tendencies, you have to learn to differentiate between a conscientious desire for perfection
mhm.
and an endless thought that you can't shake. So, the people close to you have probably pointed out the difference countless times. And like I said,
Yeah.
I've been being told my whole life that I'm a perfectionist, that I expect everybody to be just like me. I have, unrealistic expectations of people.
Yeah, me too.
And yeah, and I think that learning how to deal with those things, can go a long way. I mean, you may not be able to cure yourself, but at the same time, you can, through therapy, through medication, through meditation, through a lot of different things, you can learn how to manage it so that it
Mhm.
doesn't run you.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Oh,
So I wonder what
our
the
our
chat thinks
minds are
about this. Are there any of
true.
you in the chat who either have been diagnosed or think that you may have traits or know someone who does? And
Yeah,
what kind of things have they done to to try to I don't want to say normalize it because you can't normalize it, but get it to a point where it's manageable, where it's workable.
yeah.
So here's one from Eileen Bradley. She says, my father had similar behaviors as OCPD to the point that I would get screamed at for hours if his toothbrush moved a fraction from where he
Oh,
left it in the cup. And hours isn't an exaggeration.
wow.
Yeah, I know what that can be like, Eileen. That's,
I do too.
but you also have to imagine what it was like for him too,
Mhm.
that battle that was going on inside his mind.
That's
Mhm.
another reason that I think it's important for us to talk about these situations because as bad as it is for the person that's actually living with it, in with their own body and their own mind, I
Mhm.
think it has to be I would think, I don't know, but I would think that it would be a lot of help if the people around them kind of understood what it was
Mhm.
and not being like, "Oh, you're this," or, "Oh, you're that." Not like that, but just like,
Right.
"Okay, this is they can't help this. This is not them being bossy
Exactly.
or not them, whatever, you know,
And like
it's like
most
this."
disorders of the mind, one size does not fit all. So
That's true.
something that might work for one person might be a complete failure for another. That's
Mhm.
why I think we're always a little bit leery of coming on here and saying, well, you should try this or you should try
Yeah,
that because it may
yeah.
not work for you. Like, okay, Ben mentions that confidence reboot hypnosis worked for me, but I had light OCD. So he was very far down on the spectrum.
Mhm.
So that helped him, but maybe it may not for
Yeah.
others.
But I
But
think sometimes just like, first of all, just hearing that other people have these situations, these disorders,
mhm.
and even hearing the names of things that might have helped them, hearing things that might have helped them.
Yeah,
It demystifies it if you do
sure.
start seeking treatment and your therapist or whatever says this or that, names off this stuff. It I don't think anything sounds as scary as if you've heard it from a friend. If
Right.
you've heard about it from somebody that you know or that you know of, that kind of thing, and so that's kinda where we're at.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly.
So, I was seeing this one. Indigo says, I know that personality disorders often get confused for each other. B- BPD and schizophrenia. I know how to read, believe it or not.
Mhm.
And schizoaffective disorder get confused a lot for some reason. That
Mm.
happens with a lot of stuff. We get them confused. And as is evident that I did not even know that there was an OCPD. I just thought that it was
Right.
all some kind of OCD thing,
Yeah.
and
And sometimes just in the course of researching these things, Susie and I are always learning things that we didn't know, when
always.
preparing for things like this. And that's kind of the point. That's why we do these lives, is because
Mhm.
we might have said something here tonight that you guys have never heard before. And you were like,
Yeah,
wow, I didn't even know that. And that causes
absolutely.
you to go and Google something or
Yeah.
look something up. And it's all about learning. I mean,
Mhm.
that's how we learn how to deal with the things that happen in our everyday life. We learn.
Yeah. And
So,
yes, the OCD is the one that has cycles.
yes.
They can both have cycles, but
Mhm. Yeah, but it's more closely
it's
related. It's more
yeah,
closely
it's
identified
more
with
of the
OCD.
OCD
Yeah,
because with OCD, the cycle you have to do those or it's kinda like a doomsday kind of thing. If you don't do these cycles, it
right.
you know, everything
Okay.
goes
So
to
now I
hell.
got one that'll blow your mind. You guys wanna hear some numbers? I promise
Yes.
I won't drown you in them, but I think you might be surprised by this because I was absolutely blown away. So, obsessive compulsive disorder, or OCD, is a disabling condition that affects nearly 3% of people worldwide. To
Wow.
put that into perspective, approximately 8.2 million adults in the United States suffer from OCD. That's close to the
Okay.
number of all the people living in New York City. 8.2 million. And that's only the ones we know of.
Oh, yeah.
That's only the
'Cause if
people
you
who have been
know of that,
diagnosed.
it's nothing compared to what
Yes,
really is.
exactly. You know,
Mhm.
so one of the things that they talk about also in this article that I was reading is that um, a dedicated psychiatrist who specializes in treating OCD cases offers in person treatment and remote telepsychiatry and video psychiatry sessions if you prefer to avoid the travel and or maybe don't feel comfortable seeing a psychiatrist. Um, it's something that originally I spoke to my physician, my general practitioner, about. Told him
Mhm.
that I was having these issues and I wanted to get tested, and he referred me to someone who referred me to a therapist, and I had testing done. And it's an ongoing struggle, guys. It's like a drug addiction or
Mhm.
alcoholism or anything. You can't just will it away.
Yeah.
But there are resources out there, people that you can talk to that can give you tools to help you manage it and make it to a point where it doesn't run your life. You can
Mhm.
live with it comfortably. So,
Yeah.
I saw a comment up here that I wanted to talk about. I think it was B. Um, B. Oh yeah, she said somehow over time, some OCD disappeared, some has diminished. How? I don't know.
Mhm.
I think, and again, I don't don't take this as
Yeah.
gospel, guys, because I am not a professional. But from what I've read and through people that I've known in my life that have suffered through similar things, a lot of what kicks OCD off
Mhm.
originally is some kind of trauma, some kind of anxiety disorder, or something like that. And it seems like the more anxiety you have in your life, the more ratcheted up the symptoms
Yes.
become.
I
And
can
if you
see
get to a point where you eliminate, some of the sources of that anxiety, your mind can almost heal itself. I mean, maybe
Mhm.
not completely, but you'll exhibit less and less of the traits.
Mhm.
Um, and again, that is not professional opinion or anything like
Yeah.
that. That's just observation.
Yeah.
So, I
Yeah.
don't know that it's always possible to get rid of it, but I think if you can minimize the stress in your life, you know, that could be said for any number of disorders that you have, you know. If you can
Mhm.
calm your mind and get rid of stressful things, you know, the
Stress
mind
really
the mind has a remarkable ability to heal itself.
yeah. So, I agree, Wendy. I think it is a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
I was blown away. I've really been, like, probably 2 weeks of every day just reading a little bit more on it, and then I thought, I'm gonna see if John will go live with me. I really think that it's really important, and I
Yeah,
also see that you said you'll be here more often, and I'm really glad,
yeah.
and, I'm glad you came here, especially after leaving a couple of other communities, so
Mhm.
thank you.
Yeah.
And Matthew says that the cycles sound awful. I agree. I think that that would just be so hard to,
Yeah.
to
You know, something that we didn't talk about a lot, Susie, and I kinda wanna touch on it a little bit,
that's fine.
is, another compulsion, another component of it is, and let me see if I can find it here. I know how much we hate silence, those silent breaks,
No,
but,
you're fine.
there was something, and I didn't wanna paraphrase, I wanted to see exactly
Yeah,
what they were saying, but, one of the things that I think you and I also suffer from that puts us in this spectrum is hoarding.
yeah,
Um, I am a collector of
yeah, me
things,
too.
okay? And
It's not
but oh,
hoarding if your stuff is cool.
yeah, that's what I tell myself too. Um, but it manifests itself. So for me, it was a very young age. I started collecting baseball cards when I was
Yeah,
very young. And but it became an obsession because you collect to the extreme.
mhm,
So say you collect, let me think of something general that most people can relate to. You know those Christmas villages that a lot of people have, and you know you buy the ceramic buildings individually. My grandmothers both had them. My mother had them. They're expensive. They're like 50,
yeah,
$60 a piece.
yeah,
And they had these huge villages. I mean, there were dozens of them. And they had to have been thousands of dollars when
oh,
you put it
yeah,
all together. But an obsessive compulsive person, every time one comes out, they have to have it.
yeah,
They have to have all of them. And
yeah,
that's how I was getting with baseball cards. I had one favorite baseball player growing up, and that was Greg Maddux. He was a pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. And I started collecting his cards. And I got to the point where I had to have every single Greg Maddux card ever printed. And
wow,
there were tens of thousands of them, Susie. I spent so much money trying to chase that dream that was unachievable because
mhm,
there are cards that are one of one. There's only one printed.
yeah,
And if some other collector had it, I mean, I would find myself on eBay for hours and days
yeah,
and weeks trying to get the ungettable, you know?
mhm.
So it was a fix that I could never fully
And
satisfy.
would you beat yourself up, if you couldn't get
Oh,
it?
yeah. I would
Yeah,
go to bed miserable because I lost an auction for that card that
yeah,
I had to have,
yeah,
and I would overpay constantly in auctions for cards just because I had to have that card.
mhm.
And hoarding is a little bit different. I mean, we've all seen the
Yeah, we don't
shows with hoarders, and we know what that's about.
yeah,
But
it's not
I
like
think
hoarding trash and hoarding all we're
no,
not doing that. It's like
but
yeah.
these people that and I'm gonna out you here, but these people that, you know, buy things that they don't need
Yeah.
just just to have them, just to satisfy that thing. And I
Can
mean,
you hear
I
Mark
I know
over there agreeing with you?
yes, I know you've been cleaning house lately, and you've been finding things that you're like, "I can't believe that I have 150 different lip stains. What the hell was I thinking?" Or, you know, I remember you saying
Yeah.
one night that you had, like, 4 dozen purses that you've never carried once in your whole life,
Yeah.
or clothes that are hanging in the closets that still have the tags on them,
Yep.
or
See?
there are a couple creators that we know of that buy clothes that they know aren't even gonna fit
Yeah.
because they have to
But,
have
you know,
them,
that's a
you know what I mean?
compulsive whether we like that person or not, it's a
That is
compulsion.
it's OCD, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, it can
So
manifest itself in a lot of different ways, and
yeah.
sometimes we write it off like, "Oh, I'm just eccentric," or "I'm just bored,"
Mhm.
I'm a chronic
You'd
shopper.
be
We
very
talk
proud
about
of me. I have really been purging and not buying as much. I'm still having to buy things. We need things. That's the bad thing when you are like a shopaholic type
Oh,
person,
yeah.
is that it's kinda like when you have an eating disorder, you still have to eat. And
Right.
and when you're a shopaholic type person, you still have to shop.
You
There's
still have to
things you
buy
have to
things, yeah, you just have
you know,
to
and so
calm
I'm like,
yourself down.
yeah, I've been
Well,
doing
I
better.
know well, I know your friends like Lord Kiss Freak's daughter and other people are very thankful that they know someone like you, so
Yeah, in the post office when I have to ship stuff.
Exactly, but I mean, it
I
has its positives.
Mark's like, "How much was that gonna cost to ship?" I'm
Yeah, right.
like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No,
Oh.
it was good. That's another problem though, is that my that feeds into my shopping compulsion, since we're talking about
Mhm.
compulsions, it does kind of fit, is that my love language is giving people gifts. It's not
Mhm.
even necessarily getting gifts. It's giving people gifts.
Yes.
And so I have to really, watch myself because a lot of times when I'm buying stuff, it's because I want to give it to somebody else. It's not
Mhm.
even always because I want it myself. Or even if I want it for myself, then I'll look at it and think, I don't need that, but I could give it to, this person.
Right. That's
And,
how
and
we justify it in our minds.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And so they kind
Mhm.
of bounce off of each other. Those
Yeah.
2, my compulsion to buy things and my compulsion to give things. They just I'm at
Right, and
war
it's
with
like I was saying, you may have several things going on at once, and one's
Mhm.
feeding the other one, so, yeah.
Yeah,
That's no
absolutely.
joke. The mind is no joke.
Ah, here's this one too. Linda says, "This is interesting. I have never heard of OCPD before. Is this a new concept?" I don't think that it's necessarily new, that it's just like anything, that the more that we're online, the more information gets out there. Just like, we'll say, "We didn't have these evil people whenever I was a kid." Yeah, we
Right.
did.
We did.
We just didn't
Just
know.
wasn't known.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that especially in the psychiatric community, I think in the past they've tended to lump several things into and, hang it under one
Absolutely.
umbrella, and now we're learning to pick things apart and realize
Mhm.
that this is kind of its own thing now, and, so, yeah, I think it's just
Mhm.
knowledge.
There's this one too. Giving people drugs to solve mental disorders is an atrocity. I think that sometimes
Well,
drugs can absolutely be what is best, but I think
yeah.
that just giving people drugs without looking at other things,
Mhm.
therapy and all of that I think can be an atrocity.
Yeah,
Just,
because
just
I don't think
doing
I
it.
would wanna paint it all with the same brush
Yeah.
because I mean, I feel like that. I mean, I had 2 stepchildren while they were growing up. They were both on the spectrum,
Mhm.
and, the schools instantly wanna treat that bad behavior by giving every kid Ritalin,
Mhm.
and I fought and yelled and screamed and had fits with school officials
Mhm.
because all they wanted was peace and quiet in the classroom, and they didn't care how they got it.
Mhm.
And so, yes, over medicating a child or medicating a child that doesn't need to be medicated is not a smart idea. But that being said, we also have to realize that a lot of these mental issues that we talk about are chemical. They're chemical in the
Mhm.
brain. And if a pharmaceutical is able to alter that chemical mix in the brain
Absolutely.
to allow us to live semi-normal lives, then yeah, I'm all on board for that too. But I don't think medication alone is necessarily always the answer.
Yeah, are always the answer.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
This
Yeah.
right here is why we're here. This is absolutely why we're here, and these shows are so refreshing to see others having similar difficulties. Makes me feel more, quote, unquote, "normal" in a
Mhm.
very non-normal world for me. So many around me don't get me.
Thank you, Ian. That's really touching because
That's
that's exactly why we do this. Exact
absolutely, that is absolutely why we do these.
Mhm. Yeah,
So,
absolutely. Thank you for that.
absolutely, I saw that and I was like, "Oh, wow."
And,
Somebody
you know,
really
it's
tried me.
those kinda comments that, feed us and let us know that,
Yeah,
we're helping
absolutely.
people even though we're not professionals. Just
Yeah.
sitting down and being able to talk about it like adults and destigmatizing it,
Mhm.
makes it better. It really does.
This one says, and I know this, but I have not really ever looked into it all. I know there's a movie and everything about Howard
Mhm.
Hughes and how he, was an extreme example of this. I need to watch that. Is it Catch Me If You Can or something
That
like that, the movie?
I
I
is that the one?
I think it is. What's weird is, isn't it Leonardo DiCaprio that
It is Leonardo DiCaprio. I don't think it was that one, though. I think Catch Me If You Can was about a con man.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember the one about Howard Hughes, but I'm sure somebody in the chat will know.
Yeah, what is
Yeah.
that one? But isn't it interesting that, 'cause Leonardo DiCaprio played him though, right?
Yeah,
Played Howard
and
Hughes,
Leonardo
and
also suffers
Leonardo
from OCD,
DiCaprio
so
has that.
The Aviator,
Yeah,
called The
yeah,
Aviator.
The
Thank you,
Aviator.
Indigo.
Yeah, thanks, Indigo.
I knew the professor would know.
Yes. Mm,
Oh,
I'm telling you, she is helpful.
hey, Susie.
I know, and I know
I know you know,
they are
but I'm
very
here to remind you.
they are very forgiving of me. I always say, if I don't get them right, it is not that that I have an issue with it. I just
Say like
have an
that.
issue with, like, my mouth go, you know.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I inadvertently
No.
booted that last one. Mhm.
So, anyway, hence the rituals of checking, counting, not stepping on things, like on cracks. Absolutely. I used
Mhm.
to be completely, as a child, would cry if I stepped on a crack, like in the
Mhm.
sidewalk or something, or even I grew up in the desert in
Mhm.
California. And the ground would be cracked in places, and I'm, like,
Oh,
busy, sidestepping, trying to not hit a crack, and my mom, like, she's like, "Oh," because she thought it was just that, "Don't step on a crack or break your mother's back,"
yeah.
kinda
So
thing.
Susie's hopscotching through the dunes trying to get home.
Yeah, but it really wasn't that. I mean, I I imagine that that comes from something maybe
Yeah.
far, far, far back, that somebody had issues with stepping on cracks, and it you know
Mhm.
but that really wasn't it for me. I literally thought that if I stepped literally, I'm not kidding. Like, I
Mhm.
literally thought that if I stepped on a crack, that it was going to open up and engulf me like
Yeah.
a crater,
Yeah.
like an earthquake kind of deal, like a fault line kinda thing,
Mhm.
and I believed it wholeheartedly,
Mhm.
and, I mean, I also believed that Oklahoma was nothing but quicksand, but that was because my dad told me constantly about quicksand whenever I was a kid, and I've never ran into it. Apparently,
But
it was
see
all over this acreage and never found any of it, but yeah.
those are perfect examples, Susie. All it takes is a seed
Mhm.
planted in your mind, and that can I mean, it can just permeate everything that you do for the rest of your life.
Yeah. Like, I still whenever we're, like, walking around in the pastures here, like, because we had cattle and everything, and if we were looking for a new baby or I was out there feeding or, whatever, I'm
Mhm.
watching the ground. And a lot of the time, it's like I think that all of a sudden I'm gonna find either a crack or or
Or
that
quicksand.
yeah, quicksand. One or the other. I'm either going to fall into a crack in the universe or I'm going to drown in quicksand.
Mhm.
And I'm like, "Thanks a lot, dad."
All right,
Mm,
Susie, Here's one for you.
Okay.
This is how you can remember from now on. If it helps, just remember, Indigo's a gem who goes by they, them. You'll
I
forget that,
always
but it's
know the
true.
whole they, them. I'm not gonna remember that indigo is a
Yeah,
gem who goes because if
yeah,
I can't get they and them, I do when I think about indigo, I think they, them,
yeah.
but it doesn't always come out that way. But that's just
That's
like,
alright.
with
Look at how
the
long look at how long it took us to get you to call Misha by her correct name. And
and the
that's
whole
still a
Ned
work in
thing's
progress.
completely got me. I mean,
I
I'm
know.
like, "Oh, crap, I just
I've
learned the
told her
mission."
I've told her a million times, as much as people call her Misha, she should just roll
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah. I know. I know. Ugh. I just figured out not very long ago that she lives in Oklahoma. It's like, why are we not friends? Like, in real life, why are we not,
Yeah,
you know,
mm.
doing things together? So,
Well, I think you guys live far apart, though. You live
not
near
too
Tulsa,
far.
right?
Well,
No?
Oklahoma's pretty little. It's not
Oh,
very
yeah,
big.
that's true. That's true.
Oops. So, here we go. Here's this. Marilee says, "B, my youngest has OCD about health issues. She will phone me to ask if she should go to the ER, and I will talk her through why or why not." Yeah, I get that.
Mhm.
I get that too.
Yeah.
I've said that too. We were talking the other day, and I said that I will. We were talking. What we were talking about was like, do why do we care if people like us? And
Mhm.
and I was talking about that sometimes I just need the reassurance that people do. But
Mhm.
I take it to an extreme, like, I don't need you to tell me once that this is okay. I need it a few times before it
Yeah.
clicks in, and
Yeah.
and I think that that's kind of this whole thing too, because it's not just that I'm, like, this needy person that
No.
needs to hear it. It's not that, it's just that for some
No.
reason
We all need positive
that
reinforcement from
well, but
time to
this is,
time.
like, weird about it. Like, I get weird
Mhm.
about it. Like, I have to
Yeah.
like, hear it a few times, like, the
Mhm.
same thing that, "Yeah, you did fine on that,"
Mhm.
before I, like, realize or, like, who cares if this person likes you or not, or who cares about this or that, I have to, really reinforce it in
Mhm.
my head and have other people reinforce it
Well, and you know
before I,
what, Suze?
know it.
You know what sets you apart from other people, and one of the reasons why you're such a close friend of mine is that you need positive reinforcement from time to time. We all do, but you don't surround yourself with yes people.
No.
There's one of the reasons why our mod group is so strong is because we're from all over the place. We're from Canada, we're from the United States, we're from every point in between. And we
Mhm.
all have different life experiences. We all have different um, ways of looking at things.
Mm.
And not one of us will ever kiss your ass just to make you
Yeah.
feel better. We
No, and I
are
don't
all
want that.
true friends, and we will tell you exactly what we think, and we know
Mhm.
that you will do exactly the same. So, I mean,
No, I
I've
don't want
been
people to
involved
disagree. I
I've
don't
been in
want that.
groups of yes people before, and
Yeah.
it's just, it's not good. It really isn't.
Yeah, no, not at all. But
Yeah.
yeah, like, I don't want yes people because I can tell when somebody's just telling me what they think I wanna hear, and I'm
Right.
like, "No." I mean, I don't necessarily want somebody to tell me, that I'm wrong every time, but
No.
I don't want them to just be like, "Yes, yes, yes, you're"
No, but that's I mean, that is the definition of a true friend. Someone who will tell you the truth even when it hurts, you
Yeah,
know? So, all
yeah.
right. I'm off my
So, we
soapbox
have this Never in Aaron says, "My girlfriend left me because she couldn't handle my OCD." Aw.
I
I
told
told
her
her
to
to
close the
close
door 5 times on her way out. Oh,
I
you
think we
walked
have
right into
another
that one.
Ben.
Oh, that was good.
I think we
Oh,
have
Aaron, that was good.
Aaron is another Ben. Oh,
Oh,
you
that
got
was
me.
good.
You
Yep,
got
I
me.
like that
I'm
one,
like,
though. That
"Aw." I'm so busy
was
being
good.
like, "Aw, bless his heart," and then he's being a little bit of a turd.
Well, Mary Lee put it best. Because the mod group has one thing in common, we're all batshit crazy.
That's true. That is true.
Well, Mayor, we're only as good as our leader, right?
Oh, please. I'm no leader. If you're looking for me to lead somebody, I'll lead you astray probably.
Uh-huh.
Uh, oh
You guys
Lord,
don't
here's
know this.
Ben. I'm all every time I pull Ben's name up, I'm like, I better read this through before
No,
I
he's
read
actually being pretty good tonight, so I starred a couple of his comments. He's making sense, so.
says, I'm not aware if they used shock therapy for that, but I mainly stick to studying cluster B personalities, and I am far from being an expert as well.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if they did either. I never saw that. Did you see anything that said if they used any kind of
No,
shock therapy?
no. I think, well, I think back in the draconian days, they were using shock therapy for everything.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
couldn't drain it with leeches, they were shocking the shit out of people. So thank
Mhm.
God we've at least progressed beyond that point,
I could
putting
say so
people in
much, but I'm not going
institutions.
to. One of these days, we'll have one of those shows where I talk about women and their hysteria.
Mhm,
All of that stuff.
mhm.
Mara says, "My oldest grandson made the decision that he wanted to be medicated during school. He's high functioning autistic." And good for him if that helps him and, it helps him to get through school. Um, I think it's great. Whatever. I
Mhm.
No judgment.
Yeah, exactly.
I am a firm believer in we do what works for us,
Mhm.
and it's between us and our doctors. I am too, Indigo, I really am. I'm proud of
Yeah.
anyone who has shared their feelings or experiences.
Yeah,
I
it's not
am.
always an easy thing to do, but,
No.
when you find community and you find people who have shared experiences, it can be therapeutic, it really can. So,
Oh, I sometimes think that I better skip dessert or something bad might happen. I
Aaron's
sometimes
on a
think I
roll
better
tonight.
eat dessert or something bad might happen. That's what I think. I never used to eat dessert. I was never somebody other than I always wanted some kind of what I call emergency chocolate in the house, like that,
Mhm,
and I would have it there and I wouldn't need it as long as I knew it was there, but if it wasn't there, then I would go crazy needing chocolate. But the
mhm.
last year, I want dessert all the time. I will come out of the bedroom at night, it might be 10:30 at night or 11, and Mark will look over at me and he'd be going, "Time for cookies?" I'm like, "Yes." And I never ate late at night, and I never ate
Uh-huh.
sweets, very, very rarely.
Mhm,
I've always been, more of a savory kind of person, but just think of how sweet it's making me now, though, all that chocolate and
mhm.
sugar.
Yeah, it's
Night
true.
sky fire. I lived in a neighborhood with an actual sinkhole in the road once. Looking back, that still gives me a bit of anxiety, but I think it helped calm my OCD down. Yeah. Yeah, it
Mm.
really it might have calmed it down a notch, absolutely, because, that's one of the treatments is that, y you know, confronting those things,
Oh, they
and
call
so
it
if you were
immersion therapy, where
yeah,
they
immersion
expose
therapy.
you to those things slowly, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
Mm.
yeah, that actually makes sense, I think.
Mhm.
So,
I still think Ben could benefit from a bit of shock therapy, but
I do
that's just
too.
me. That's
You
just me.
feel lobotomy.
We love you, Ben.
I seriously just wanna send him all of my disco records. I just want to.
Well, let's find out when his birthday is. Maybe we can all contribute to that pile.
Yeah, but he did say that if I did, that they would, somehow get messed up in shipping.
Oh, well,
So
it's the thought that counts.
mhm. This is actually I know Marilee is, like, being half serious and half joking,
Yeah.
but for me, the more I blather about my mental health issues, the easier it is to deal with them. I
Mhm.
agree.
Yeah, that's why
And
I
that
started that one because it's a very important point.
yeah. Again, mayor for
Misery
the
loves
win.
company, right?
Yeah.
Healing likes it too.
Mhm.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Uh,
Yep.
Night Sky Fire says shock therapy is completely different than it used to be. It's a smaller amount of electricity done under anesthesia and a last line of treatment. Yeah, it's life
Mhm.
changing for people. I absolutely agree. We shouldn't have
Yeah.
joked about it, but we're joking about the
Well,
old
sure.
time thing. But yeah, it is. It is completely different. I know of people that have had that now, and it is nothing like like what it was generations ago. So
Mhm. Yeah.
thankfully. Thankfully, it's not.
Ben says something unexplainable will happen in shipping. It'll be a freak thing. Everything with you is a freak thing, Ben.
This is true. Ugh, we love Ben, but man, sometimes.
Mhm. All right. Well, normally,
Yeah.
Susie, if I was in the chat, this would be the time I'd be throwing up clocks. So
Yeah, yeah,
75 minutes. But I think we've gotten our point across.
yeah, we've got our point across. So
Hopefully,
we
we
are
didn't
gonna
bore people
go.
too
Thank
much.
you guys so much for being here. And if we did not get to you, we are sorry. And
Mhm.
if we didn't welcome you, we are sorry about that too. It's just hard to catch everybody, but we are
Mhm.
thrilled when you're here and we never take that for granted. We are always very excited to see people. And Wendy, I understand you haven't been here until recently, and we welcome you wholeheartedly.
Yes, we do.
So,
Welcome, welcome,
anyway,
Wendy.
thank you
And
very much
anybody
for
else
being
who's
here, and
lurking.
anybody else that's lurking.
Yeah.
That's right. So, we're gonna go ahead and go, and we will see you
Yeah.
soon.
Take
Thanks
care,
so much.
everybody.
Thanks
Have a
so
good
much to
night.
my mods. Thanks, John.
Mhm.
You
And don't forget to hit the thumbs up button.
yeah, or the
Do all the
subscribe.
YouTubey things.
Hope you enjoyed the show. So glad you were here. We meet here most days. We're but first coffee, and you're welcome here. We talk about hard subjects, but we also laugh a lot. If you have a loss or win, we will cheer for you. We're but first coffee, and you are safe here. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all. You don't wanna miss a show, because this is your home to y'all. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, notifications set to all.